Hey, it's the odd man. I was going to build the Wherry Ruth from plans this winter as something to do, but then I saw this one for sale last fall and decided to buy it. During the process of looking at the boat, I videoed it and rode it and so forth, and I didn't really care for the rowing system that was in the boat. This was an old Oarmaster I. So, having had a lot of experience with the Angus Rowboats sliding seat system, I decided to install that instead. I really splurged on this and bought their kit. The boat is 18 feet long and under 3 feet wide and weighs just under 40 pounds. It's built as a skin on frame boat with a shrink fitting cloth over a cedar frame.
A very light sanding before painting. It's funny to me that the thing I dislike the most about these skin on frame boats is how weird they look. I want it to look more like a traditional painted wooden boat. So this is what you get.
When I was trying out the boat at the seller's home, it looked to me and felt to me like the sliding seat rig was too far forward in the boat.
So the first thing I did when I got it home was to take the sliding seat rig I had out of the Oxford Wherry and stick it in here and see how it looks and compare it with the plans. So the plans clearly show the sliding seat rig, the one that came out of it, between frames 3 and 5, which is exactly where this is.
But I thought it was too far forward. And as a result, I moved it backwards in about 8 inches. This took surprisingly little work. I just had to cut a little bit away on one of the frames. And then I added a reinforcement to that frame.
The width of my existing setup is exactly right for this. The height is bad. You can see there's only 2.5 inches between the framework for the sliding seat and the bottom of the outrigger. My current boat is set up at 6 inches, but I think by notching these, I can, on the new one I build, I can easily get it down another couple of inches anyway. So I'm pleased with that. Dry fit for the first time and checking to be sure I have the width set right. You can see here that I round over all the edges on this thing with the router, except the top one, where the rails sit for the sliding seat. I want that to be flat. You may have noticed I put the foot stretchers too far out this way. It covers up the hole for the strap to go through. I'm not done standing. I still haven't addressed some of those drippy edges and so forth. But I won't do that until after I have test fitted it and tried to row it once. So I'd like to get a quick coat of paint on it to protect it from the water when I go out and test row it.
Angus Rowboats has a pretty good description of how to install this on their website, but I just recreated what I had in the Ruth Wherry.
Okay, so I like where the sliding seat is. It looks good. Still subject to a test row, but hopefully I didn't move it too far backwards. Now we need to figure out where the rigger goes. And I have the rigger built. And I have these blocks of wood that the prior owner built that fit down in the gunnels. Looks like he did a pretty good job getting them leveled. I tore off the old Oarlocks, so I still need to clean them up. And, of course, figure out where they need to go. They're going to go back right here somewhere. I measured, on the other boat, I measured from the center of the pin to the front of this slide, and it was 40 inches. So I got both those the same. Then realized I didn't have it centered side to side, so I had to measure from, the inside of this to the end, and on both sides, and wiggle that back and forth till I got it right. Then redo the 40-inch measurement here. So I think that's pretty darn close. My measurements on the other boat said it was exactly 6 inches from the top of the slide rigger, from the top of the slide structure to the underside of the rigger. And I'm off a half an inch with these in there. So it'd be pretty easy to slice these down to 1 inch. Drilling a hole like that on this cloth boat was quite nerve-wracking. One of the things that's a little odd about this kit is these two Oarlocks are exactly identical. But if you look at the way I have these rigged, the left Oarlock is about 3/8 of an inch taller than the right Oarlock. As you know, when you row, it's left over right. And since your left hand is higher, that Oarlock needs to be a little higher too. Fortunately, from the last project, I have spacers galore. So I should be able to make this work out. Based on my leverage calculations and the dimensions on these oars, this should be 162 centimeters between the pins on the Oarlocks. Okay, so this is the first stab at the riggers and everything, really, and it looks pretty good. That huge pile of blocks is kind of ugly, but I can clean that up some. And I may glue that bottom block in. I can clearly use 1/2 inch shorter bolts, but this is what I had. The oars fit the Oarlocks really well. So it's ready for the first trial row. project like this generates quite a bit of trash, especially when my trusty old belt sander fails.
Bye, 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 bye.
This is the Odd Man, out.